My name is Sandra, and thank you for joining me tonight. And I'm going to go through some slides from a couple of the classes that I've taught in the past about cupping, just to give a brief overview, do some demos. CV, like all of you, I have hundreds of certifications. These are my most important ones in what I do. And if you have any questions about any of those, I'm always happy to chat about that. Topics we're going to cover in this presentation today. This is an overview. This is not comprehensive, so I'm not going to cover everything. I'm not going to cover contraindications. I'm just giving you ideas and visuals. I'll show you some cups at the end. So we're going to make the case for cupping. Why even use cupping? And I'm going to hopefully make the case that it'll make sense for you of why you should use it. Types of cups. There are as many types of cups as there are modalities in massage. So you're going to have to play around with it. I'm going to show you some videos for demoing back cupping, belly cupping, and face routines. And then at the end, how to market yourself with this tool and how to advertise to your clients. So again, the choice of cup, this is 6 of, I don't know, what, 100 different kinds. Like I said in the little blurb that I did, these blue guys over here you can get for $12 a box, and I think these are 125 for two. I'm not sure. They come in this box. And they light up and they make noise. These guys are great for placement and maybe doing some stretch with them. I'm not a huge fan of the pumping ones. To me, they don't feel good on. And if we're trying to save our hands with what we do for a living, just doesn't seem like a good idea. And then if you want to get some horn cups, you're welcome to get some horn cups. But vacuum cupping, silicone cupping, static cupping, staying in place, dynamic moving around, I'll be showing that. And then fire cupping. You got options. I think a lot of times some make more sense than others. And I advise to get them used on you if you can, so you can know what they feel like. Because these guys right here, the blue ones, used in dynamic cupping, I can't stand the way that feels. Static cupping with stretching feels great. So the case for observations, before I get into making the case for cupping, as massage therapists, part of our job is to be observing when we shouldn't massage, when it's contraindicated, when we turn clients away when they come in sick. So we are routinely making observations about the physical presentation of our clients. And I want to take that a step further with the cupping to know how to educate clients when maybe they don't need to be smashed, maybe they need negative pressure. So this is obviously something that is common for us. We're always on the lookout for these types of things. What else can we be on the lookout for to further enhance our trust in our clients and get better outcomes? And in this idea, I want to talk about the spectrum of tissue quality. And then I'm going to get a little bit nerdy here for a few seconds before I get into the demo, so bear with me. So the idea of tissue quality, this spectrum of tissue quality, in the middle we have healthy tissue. Going out towards the edges, we have unhealthy tissue, and it can look different on different bodies. You have extremely fibrotic tissue, dense, like a concrete wall or bulletproof. And on the other side, you have barely enough skin stretched over a neck to know that it's a human being. There's nothing there. On the ends of that spectrum on both sides, they don't need, I could do ashiatsu on this dense tissue person and they don't feel a thing. So what I want everybody to start thinking about is what levers can we pull? What more can we do to actually affect change in those far spectrums of unhealthy tissue? And just an example is supple tissues here in the middle, and we get all shapes and sizes. It's not a size thing, it's a quality of the soup mixture. Dense, fibrotic, hard as a rock. I don't care what you do with it. Take a javel to it, it's not going to go anywhere. Thin, weak. I'm going to talk a little bit about protein. If you follow me at all, I talk about protein all the time. Again, in observation, when working with our clients, most people are under-proteined. So if you get a back that has skin stretched over top of it and nothing's there, we need to be educated on telling people what their tissue health is like, why this might be a good choice for them to bring blood to the area. If you don't follow Dr. Luke Van Loon, please do so. He explains in detail how our amino acid turnover happens every 50 to 100 days. If we do not refuel with enough protein, our muscles that we're not using a lot will get smaller, weaker, and atrophied. Dr. Gabrielle Lyon is another great follow for protein intake. These are discussions we can have with our clients to further educate them, and in this situation, show why we might want to use this tool. Furthering on with more of Dr. Van Loon's information, we say we just lose muscle as we age. We don't have to. And his term here, short-term disuse atrophy, is periods of muscle disuse accumulate throughout our lifespan. And it shows up in different ways. These are extreme versions, but we need to know what to do with the client on the table when their tissue is not healthy. They don't need smashing. What else can we do? More case for cupping, the history of the soup. This all goes into the client's health history, all of the things that's stacked on top of them that's made them who they are and how they're presenting on the table today. Do they need smashing or do they need something different? And these are all things that affect muscle health, bone health, and will have a client presenting with osteopenia, osteoporosis, muscle fatigue, muscle weakness. What's there to smash on? So that's the pathology side of tissue. Now we're going to show and talk about some structural components, and I'm sure you guys have seen this. Anybody seen that posture before? One of the most common ones, thoracic outlet syndrome. This guy does not need smashing and Graston and myofascial release here. What does he need? Maybe he needs some negative pressure to pull some blood in that area while he goes out and works with a PT or personal trainer on that thoracic outlet syndrome. Scapular dyskinesis. I swear if I see another person put their client's arm behind their back and dig around in there with this condition, we're making the clients worse. So how can we help? And then lastly, a good old hyperkyphotic back. Again, we don't need any more lengthening here, but how can we help? We see these things, but what do we do? And the answer in a lot of cases can be just the best result we can have on a client is stirring up blood flow. Increasing blood flow, we increase lymph flow. And that can be done through this negative pressure. Not only are you moving fluid, you're especially like on this client here, this is a 20-year-old volleyball player, collegiate athlete, history of lumbar spine issues, SI joint issues, and doing dynamic cupping is going to relieve a lot of that tension and help to work against, take them out of that anterior flexion. So this spine can come in with a bunch of different body sizes. Size doesn't matter. We want to be affecting the tissue in the best way possible to help them have relief, number one, and maybe even teach them how to do this at home. So I'm going to run through some demos here. These are all sped up, so it's not time exact. This is going to be an erector placement I would do for dynamic cupping. This is the rock pods with the plunger. And this is one of my favorite ways to treat the back because of the pull that you can get. Again, with that other blue flat type of cup, you push it back and forth, and to the receiver, in my opinion, it's like rug burn back and forth. With these guys, you're going to pull the top of that plunge and pull the tissue with you. It feels amazing on the spine. And then some shoulder waves. Anybody has nerve pain going down the arm into the shoulder, this is a great way to start relieving some of that pressure. And then hip and lumbar waves. Again, this is sped up, so I'd be a lot slower here and concentrating on any specific areas that the client has, but pulling that tissue away from what might be a sacrum with a little bit of tissue stretched on top of it, not a lot of meat there, but I can hydrate it really, really well. Always really oiled up well with dynamic cupping. And I just like the size of these plungers. They're really easy to grab a hold of and move and articulate. So here I'm just going to show you some more demoing of the gliding away from the spine. And this is what we want to see in dynamic cupping, is taking that time to pull that tissue away from that hyperkyphosis, from the unhealthy tissue that's there, encouraging and dancing, I call it in some of the instances, that you allow the tissue to practice being in a new spot. We're going to go into some abdominal cupping. I absolutely love abdominal cupping. This is with the vacuum device, big, vacuum device. I'll show you mine at the end. Again, a case for abdominal cupping. Here's just six. There's how many organs do we have? How many lymph nodes do we have? How many systems do we have moving through that pelvis into the belly, diaphragm, cisterna, and you'll see in this video with her, she has an abdominal surgery. So always start with flash cupping. Again, this is sped up. Flash cupping is basically going around the body, letting it know what's up, starting to encourage that blood flow, not hanging out in one place too long. And what I would do in the belly to start is flash cupping all the way around with both cups on there. And then the next demo is flash and pause. So I'm kind of still moving pretty quickly with one, taking about 3 spaces and letting this guy sit. So starting to stay a little bit longer. And if you've never had the vacuum cupping done, there's a little neat component to this in that it vibrates with the vacuum cupping, the consistent continual cupping. It vibrates, and while in this session I do is my detox session, I'm having them do a breath protocol, so a guided breath protocol during the whole session or during the belly part. But still, a lot of people fall asleep because this is kind of vibrating the whole time along with that suction. It's just pretty amazing. And then the last part here is those good old C-section scars. And this client's actually had multiple stomach surgeries for different reasons, but pulling up on that scar tissue, pulling up on the tissue attached to the pelvic bone, it just really starts to open up things so that when you go in to do your abdominal routine, your manual work, it's even more ready. And then some pulling here on getting that tissue pulled off the diaphragm, getting ready for you to start working under that rib a little bit. It starts to open everything up. It gets so well hydrated. Add in some hot stones, some cold stones. You're really starting to make a difference in that abdominal cavity. Facial cupping's next. Again, can't talk enough about it. I absolutely love facial cupping. Just a couple pictures here to remind us of all the powerhouse of highways that are in this section of the body. This is the version of cups that I like to use. I think there's some on Amazon for cheap as well. I always say go for cheap first if you can, if that's all you can get, and then venture out later and try different brands. But with headaches, with TMJ, with again that spectrum of tissue health, your menopausal woman that believed in, fat-free lifestyle, red meat's going to kill you, eggs are bad, no hormones, 50, 60, 70, they come in with tight tissue wrapped around that neck. This cupping is amazing to hydrate the tissue, hydrate the area, negative pressure on those nerve pathways. And again, always starting with the flash cupping. So many things here. So you can incorporate into your business. You can offer retail. You can offer, because part of what I offer in mine is a la carte stuff and then in specific sessions, but I use facial oils. So I have a special facial oil that I have. You could do retail for that, and always have a choice of an unscented jojoba or something for someone that's scent sensitive. And so that was just oiling up the face, and then start with that flash cupping, moving stuff around slowly, gently, letting the body know what's happening, what's coming up next. Flash and then glide. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, so I have a lot of people in the banking industry. I have many every tax season get diagnosed with trigeminal neuralgia. I can't tell you how amazing this cupping is for that condition. And they're going to be working their way through that all tax season, and they can buy these cups themselves and do treatments at home. Obviously, they're going to come back to you because it's great. But working, and you do an intake with this, obviously, always asking if there's Botox injections. If there is, if they just do Botox in one spot, still do everything else I show around here. And this is, again, just a part of the routine that I would do for facial cupping. And then working your way down the neck. I don't finish out in this video, but I take all 4 cups down the shoulder and continue on with that routine, working slowly in the neck, really encouraging that lymph to move, that blood to come to the area, so that again, once I go back in to start working, that area is already really well hydrated. And always in with a good hot towel. This is my cups in my office. So I have these facial cups. These guys over here, so that cupping set worked great on that client I had on the table in the demo. For my retired linebackers that I have, that I work with here from Charlotte, the girth of their shoulder to table ratio is a little bit bigger. So these tiny cups are, it's gonna take me forever to work that whole shoulder. So I use these guys on them for their décolleté shoulder area. And I keep my rock pods handy for the back and legs. I use these on the legs. This is the XL size. This is the vacuum cupping system. I love this little triangle shelf. I keep that in the back corner so it's out of the way. And then this is the facial cupping set. And the brand that I use has some great home care little postcards that have information. This is the facial oil that I have and the unscented jojoba option. So menu options. There's many different ways you can use these cups. Standalone sessions, I have two myself. One is called Cranial Recovery, where I kind of do a whole body massage, but I spend a lot more time on the head, face, and neck. I incorporate red light. It's called the sinus relief. So I do the facial cupping followed by contrast therapy. I use a jade roller, hot stone, cold stone, hot stone. And then standalone session is my head to toe detox, where it's just in the session. When someone books it, they know what they're getting. So I do the belly cupping with contrast therapy. I do the facial cupping with contrast therapy, and do contrast therapy on the feet. So you can build it out, make a brand new session that it's just in there. You don't even, obviously you're going to explain it, but they already know going into it, they selected it because that sounded interesting. Or if you have a new client, you can say, listen, next time you come, I want you to try this session at least once. That's what I usually say. You can do it. So you can have sessions that are specific with it already included. You already know what you're doing, ready to go. And then separate these out into a la carte options as an add-on to your other services, your 90-minute session. You can do just the facial cupping. You can do a belly detox or make something up that you like, and they can add on the belly part. So different options to do. And it's great for events. So all of these are our clients of mine. I hosted a Mother's Day event, I think, one year, and I had them all come in, had some refreshments, and taught them all how to do facial cupping. They all took a set home, and I keep one of these sets in my bathtub. So I like to take hot baths, and towards the end of that bath, after I'm nice and heated, I do my own cupping around my head, face, and neck. It's amazing. The detox when I'm teaching coming up soon, I do hot and stone classes, and I'm teaching all this online soon as well. And I'm always down for a cold immersion retreat that I did a couple years ago. Real quickly, so the vacuum cupping set, I'm a big fan of when I see something new, I find a therapist in my area, even if I have to drive, so they can do it to me because I like to feel it before I do it, if I can. And the lady that I went to she solely works on breast cancer survivors, and she uses these guys for the breast. It's like as big as my head, so if you need to. But that set comes with, I don't even have them all here. There's so many I couldn't even bring them in. But there are sizes to fit any person, any belly. So for my, larger clients, I would use these on their belly. I have tiny clients that have extreme cases of Lyme disease or some other condition that makes their tissues just as tight as can be. And I use these little guys on their belly because their belly's tiny because they're tiny, but these fit really well, and the vacuum cupping works really well for them. And this is like two more sizes of that vacuum cupping. Love vacuum cupping. Will never not do it. Um, as far as these guys, I don't know if you guys saw my picture that I did with these crazy guys. These are the ones that light up. They have the red lights in them. When they first came out, I think I have 6 total. I was like, how freaking cool is that? Red light therapy with your cups. I now keep these at home just to use them myself. Again, this is all opinion. This is me because you have to keep these charged. If you drop one of these, they'll stay on the body and they'll suction. But if you go to move it and you knock one off, you break it. You have to replace, or you should be replacing the little cartridge in here. And they're really kind of they're really kind of strong. And like I said, when we're working with difficult clients, they have thin tissue or sometimes pain receptors are really high and even dense tissue. So I really don't use it as a lot in session anymore. Fibromyalgia and belly cupping, 1,000%. Yes, that's like probably 50% of my clientele are extreme condition people. And one of the things I like about the cupping with the vacuum, I don't know if you can see it in these, but it's really, really, the edges are really smooth and curved. Like this whole cup is curved, so it really curves into the body really well. Which is again like those flat blue cups I showed at the beginning, those don't feel good to even me. But yes, the vacuum cupping is awesome for fibromyalgia and on the legs and on the glutes. So like, we can do a bunch of different case studies. I have one client that's type 1 diabetic, had breast cancer, just, all the things. And she, larger client, and I did ashiatsu on her for a couple sessions. But it's like I wasn't even there. I was like fly. And this is years ago. I started working with her and I'm like, okay, I've got to do something different to actually make change in this tissue. And that's why I went down this whole road. So yeah, and it's same as we all know to do and we are doing already is communication back and forth. Remind me if you want to see this, but there's a video in the Lymphedema Society, I believe it is, a lady with lymphedema went to her therapist and asked her to buy some cups. She didn't have any. And they started working together to figure out what felt good to her. And I think it was the vacuum cupping they ended on. And they worked a good routine of when to use it, how long to use it. But with, clients with extreme fibrosis, that cupping just really, really starts to meld, mold, and get that fluid moving through those channels before you even go to the massage. The facial cups, again, were in the video. So this is the size of the face cup. And again, going back to case uses, that perfect for my forehead fits there. But I have a lot of postmenopausal women they were cardio addicted their whole life, under proteined, not drinking enough water. I can't even get this to suction. Their forehead is so tight. And maybe they had a brow lift or a forehead, plastic surgery. So now they have a scar up in here. And then the rock pods. So this is the XL. I think you get 3 and 3 in one set. So this is the XL black and the XL red. I would go straight to that one because even on my tiny, tiny people, these still work really well. And I think I bought 2 or 3 sets. So I just always have enough.
I have a question.
Yes.
This is Jocelyn.
Hey,
So I
Jocelyn.
have, hey girl, I
Hey.
have some clients, well, two really, that have just been scarred by other practitioners, and they said it was so painful, but their tissue is so dense. And it's just
Mhm.
like, how do I get them untrained from like, okay, I try to convince them, I was like, you don't need any more deep tissue. You don't need any more pressure. This tissue needs to be lifted. How do you convince them to try something new? And especially if they already experienced cupping and it was painful or unpleasant.
The way I handle it is when people ask me about it, number one, or I offer it, the first thing I say is, I don't do the cupping that you see on social media.
Okay.
You're not going to walk away purple and bruised from me. My intent is to not leave any discoloration at all. That is my opinion. Um, I would ask them, did they use any lubrication? Like try to find not necessarily fault, but what obviously didn't work for that client. Find out what that was and try to rectify that objection. So if they did fire cupping or if they just put the cups on and then went and worked on their feet for a while, and you can claim, I don't do that. I do dynamic cupping, and you can show them whatever cup you might use and say, I oil your body really well. I'm going to have a picture available, or I may have posted it, but it shows basically all of the layers and how everything weaves together and explaining to them, I need to get more lymph flow into your body to help that tissue be healthy and to bring in the properties of tissue healing in around that joint. And maybe try it on a different part of the body other than what they had that experience on. Maybe even after the session, after they're dressed, if their pant leg or something can come up, say, hey, I want you to try this on yourself and let me just show you what this can be like and show them some of that rock and glide, that pull, and say, this is what I want to do to you, not what the other person did. And try to handle the objection to what happened that went wrong last time. Does that help?
It does. Thank you.
Hmm. Rock pods, yes. The red and black are rock pods. Yep. When are my classes? September. I'm doing the full body detox with all those things I mentioned next weekend, the weekend after that, and the weekend after that, I have a stone class and a cupping class. And they'll all be online soon. How do you know how much pressure pull to use with the vacuum cupping? So I will tell you, I don't have a picture, but if you can imagine the dial of if this is like one and this goes around to like 15, I'm just throwing a number out there. On even my clients that could use the pressure is fine, I had never get up to like past two or three because I don't need to because it's pull. You can see it. I love it because you can see it. You can see the skin come up in the cup. So and everyone's different because if you have medications, um, you know, genetic conditions. I call it pulling quick. And that's what I do with even the dynamic cups. And I put these on the body on that erector placement that I showed you at the beginning. I put them on and I go back and check really fast because they may have forgotten to tell me they're on a blood thinner or they didn't tell me or they're on something that's similar to a blood thinner effect or they just have a condition to where they pull quick is what I call it. If they pull quick, then I don't want to leave the cup there very long. And you'll start to discover when you use these based on the client's tissue health and density, it sometimes won't adhere well. Like if you had a person, again, another case study, I had a client that had gastric bypass and went through that recovery and then got on a GLP-1 and lost like 100 pounds in a year. And I mean, it wouldn't mold to the cup. So that person just, it just didn't work well for her. If you have an extremely thin person, I don't know if you guys have heard the term orthorexia. It's a cousin of anorexia. If their skin is strapped over their ribs and you can see every spinous process, you might not get good adhesion with them. So it's going to be a case by case situation. And you're just like you've developed a feel in palpation for body work and a feel in release. And if they're guarding or clenching, you'll get that same thing with the cups and know exactly how much pressure and pull to use. And it takes a little bit of practice. They'll pop off quick sometimes, but then you'll feel it before it does that, and you'll slow down and start maneuvering again. Rock pods are so Meyer Spa is where so a long, long time ago you could buy these from Rock Tape at a discount because you're a practitioner. And then a couple of years ago they shifted everything over to somebody else handling all that. And I believe it's Meyer Meyer Spa. You can buy these at discount in bulk. I don't think there's a minimum order, but I got mine cheaper than what's on Amazon. So if that's of interest to you, but the vacuum cupping I think is only like $100, $115, and I've had mine for over a year and haven't had to replace anything yet. Any that you would never cup? I don't like cupping right on the spine, and I'm talking from experience. Fast forward version of my health history: ovarian cyst, right ovary removed, lots of issues, lumbar spine, two children, two epidurals. And I was cupping myself and I put some cups on my lumbar spine. I was doing some gentle stretching, range of motion. And a couple hours later, it was like I slipped a disc and I couldn't roll over for like 2 weeks. So, which makes sense. I mean, even though I knew better, because just think about how close to the surface our discs are and the spinal column and everything that runs through it. So I cup, like if this is the spine, I put the cups right beside the spine and I pull away from the spine And on a few clients that have either these crazy fibrotic issues, I'll put it on the sacrum for, and I'm a local. I'm right there and I'm moving it, and it's a light. So you're going back to the how much pressure. So with this plunger, if you completely invert it and put it on the tissue and then let it suck up, that's going to be a real strong pull. If I was going to put it on the sacrum, I would just do a tiny, tiny bit just to get a tiny bit of negative pressure. And I'd put one on C7 and slowly pull it down. That feels really, really good, but that is super quick, super light. Never let it stay there because we don't want to be messing with people's spines. But that does feel good. But I would not. I see a lot of videos and pictures of people putting a bunch of cups right down the spine. I just don't think that's a good idea. And other than that, with your major conditions, just like with massage, any obvious swelling, veins, those type things. Yeah, the facial cupping is it's the easiest add-on. And like I said, I do it standalone or I'll do it with contrast therapy, but especially if women, like I haven't done Botox. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I haven't. But it really makes a difference in your skin, and it just brings that healthy blood and lymph flow to everything and the forehead. It's kind of a selling point. It's like natural Botox. Because I don't know if you've seen the studies, Botox has been shown to help people with depression. Because basically, if you're a worrier and you're, frustrated or whatever, you do this a lot, obviously, and then they deaden the muscle, so you're not doing that. So it's communicating to your brain that you're not stressed anymore. Well, we can do that with the cups, and we can teach our clients how to do it with the cups, and they can do it at home. So I love facial cupping. It's great. I do sell the facial cups. Yep, I keep them in stock. And the one that I sell, I'll send you this too. So this lady I found online, she's an esthetician in a different country. I forgot where. Um, but I like systems, I like protocols, and I like being able to give things like that to my clients because we all know they don't remember anything we say. So with this lady, you can also become a partner or whatever, and you can buy her cups um, wholesale and resell them. So like this set, it's I think four of these size and two tiny ones. And then the client, it comes in a little bag like this. They get a cute little bag. And then they get this instruction manual with cards that remind them how to use it, what direction to go in, and why it works. And then even for the legs, there's a little demo. And I mean, for the legs, I wouldn't use hers because they're so tiny. I mean, what's that going to do on my quad? Nothing. I would keep these guys in the shower for my quads or my rear end or my SI joint. Stick a couple of these on in a hot shower, do some gentle range of motion stretching. Good stuff. But yes, I do sell the cups to my clients. And that's just like if you guys ever want to do marketing or events, that is just like it's a people pleaser. It's a wow factor. If you get a volunteer or even, ask one of your clients, hey, come to this event so I can do your facial cupping in front of everybody because it looks cool and it feels good. But yep, I sell those. I used to maybe try to reach, I'm a horrible retail person. I'm a great service seller. So I usually just send people links where they can get it because everything's available on Amazon. But and I think this size cups, I think they're $15 if you get a wholesale account. I don't remember if there's a minimum order, but you can get this set on Amazon. That's not this because she claims that this plastic is healthier or whatever, but you can get a cheap set too, and they work. So again, start wherever you can, and because these guys, this is I think $12 a box gets you two big ones and these two small ones. So why in the world would I try to resell that? You're totally fine. So we just got through. Where do you get the vacuum cups? The large ones. So the vacuum set, the whole thing came off Amazon. And the whole thing comes with, I don't even know how many different sizes. But these are the ones that come with the vacuum set. I think this is the biggest one. Down, there's actually one smaller than this. So this is the biggest one, and that's the smallest one. And they do have one that's so small you could use it for the face. And I tried that when I first got it, but you can just maneuver around so much better with these. I just stick with these for the face. There you
So,
go.
not necessarily, though I have a few sources where I've gotten cups from at wholesale prices that I'll sometimes recommend people and they give discounts. So, I mean, if you want, I can post that. I don't know if you sell cups on your website or not, but no, I'm just here along for the
Yeah.
ride. Hanging out. I do have my cups as well. So, these are here just to kind of show people and, in case I needed to do a show and tell, but
I think we showed pretty much all of them, except, well, I had a picture of the cow horn or whatever animal horns.
oh,
So,
you know
yeah.
what? I have some crazy glass cups, but I don't, I mean, they're in my closet. I can go grab them real
No,
quick. They
it's
look
okay.
wild, but
They're definitely for show, I think.
yeah, they're 100% for show. And I don't want to take away, I don't want to take away from anything with people asking me about my glass cupping source whenever that's not the focus of the class. So.
It's fun. But yeah, just kind of to recap everything, just like with, I think someone was asking about techniques in the group today, it's same thing with the cups. Try all of them out. Try to get them done on you because you will 100% be like, that felt horrible. And I don't want that again. And I'm not going to use it on my people. And some are going to feel better in your hands. Like I'm 5'10", 165 pounds right now. My hands works on some really well. My friend Allie, I don't know if she's in the group. She's tiny. She's a little tiny. She's like, we're the good and bad cowboys. We're good friends. But some cups are different for her to use. Do I ever use glass ones? I don't. I don't use glass and I don't do the fire cupping. I'm just more of a dynamic cupping person and moving and grooving and getting that tissue to go with me. That's just my personal bent.
I know in some states you're not supposed to perform fire cupping if you are not an acupuncturist. So that's something to keep in mind as well. I got lucky being in Louisiana and being mentored by an acupuncturist. So that was fun. But it definitely cupping was not regulated in Louisiana whenever I learned. So I was able to get away with it.
For me, I go back to back and I'm always moving and grooving. And the last thing I need to do, which again is why I'm not a huge fan of these guys. Again, I keep them at my house now for myself. They're awesome to use on yourself, but when you're throwing cups around, put them in a towel so you can just go put them in the sink and get your next client. And I don't need glass to worry about. That's just me. Again, very much a preference. Is there ever time to not so when I put cups on, so in that first demo that I showed you when I did the erector placement, I put the oil on the client and I keep a towel with me. Either I stick it in my pants or over my shoulder or somewhere near the table and I dry out. I get them unoily before start moving and grooving with the dynamic cupping. And the face too. I'll put the facial oil on, keep a towel on my leg, get the oil off so that they're not sliding out of my hands. Good question. What's your favorite cups, Rebecca? To have used on you.
So I have EDS and my skin is like super stretchy and I actually don't like a lot of heavy suction. So these cups suck. Like quite literally, they suck way too hard and it hurts. So I had these just for those brick wall clients personally. But I just like actually, I'm just going to do a shameless plug here. And no, I don't sell these because I've already sold out and there's no way I'm going through the manufacturing ordering process again. But I have my own branded cups, which are fun. But they're essentially just regular, they're the medium silicone. I don't like the hard silicone because my hands I'm a delicate flower. I have to put things in the towel warmer if they're super hard cups to be able to make them pliable. But I like these a lot, except I like the smaller size. And I much prefer actually the colored cups. And I like the colored cups just for aesthetic purposes because if you take a picture of cups and put them on Google, on your Google page, if they're just regular clear cups, these normal ones, they might get 20 views, but if you put like all these fun, colorful ones, especially if they match your branding, you'll get like 200 views. So they are really fun. And that brand is Lure, Lure. I can put it in the chat if you want, but I like silicone better because they're easier to sanitize. They don't break. Um, got to keep them away from your dog. So there's that. Silicone is still a dog toy, um but yeah, I don't like these either very much. I know a lot of people are a fan and I think they're great for certain things, but my thumbs hyperflex so bad, y'all. Like I can't push these down. So the the little silicone ones, either normal size, like medium size, or these, so I can squeeze them this way. They're a little bit different on how they feel in the hand. It's really just a preference, but I find that these are a little bit smoother and they tend to slide better. These cups, especially depending on the manufacturer, there's going to be ridges and they might kind of scrape along the skin and then you can tell it's hard to tell on camera. You might actually can see it from here, but there's a seal on it. And if you don't sanitize properly, or if you're using a lot of heavy chemicals or keep them in your towel warmer for too long, they could split. But essentially, I like silicone better because unlike glass, they don't break, obviously, and they slide better over the bony ridges. I don't like using a glass cup and then I go over your scapula and it just pops off.
Yeah.
I've broken so many cups in my lifetime, Sandra. I don't know about you.
I
But
never went to I never went to glass. I knew right away. I know my limits, I know my strong suits, and I know glass was not for me. And she made several points, good points again that we were just talking about. In the demo, in the beginning of the presentation, this is my favorite cup to use. But I'm a very like I push with my palm.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so but these are XLs. So these are XLs, but this may feel different than that because this is more I wouldn't say plastic, but it's not hard. Like I can so it's not hard. So I think they're just easier to work with. So I'm gonna record this whole thing and I'll do the demo again, but when I put them on the body, this is how I put them on the body. So I use two hands, push the plunger in like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't use my thumbs. Um, but I like these because the dynamic cupping, then once you get them on, this is super easy. So I'm pulling like that. And you get a really good high pull. Because the ones that the big ones that you're using, I was saying earlier, like those are great if you're going to put them on the leg and then do some dynamic range of motion, some stretching with that big silicone cup. That's like great for that. But when it comes to dynamic and getting real pull away from the spine and maneuvering around that scapula, you can get like 3 or 4 inches off the body if they have good tissue, if they're super thin and dry and all that kind of stuff. There was another question about uh, cleaning solution. I use Dawn too. Yeah, I kind of I'll put them in the sink with a bunch of Dawn, and then I found another spray cleaner that like kills all viruses, so I'll spray them with that. And then a couple times a week I'll throw them in my UV towel warmer and just UV them a little bit, just to kind of hit every angle. The rock pods come off and trying to slide them is there's a secret to it. So watch her right here. So she's not getting lift when that video first starts. It's real awkward for some people. So she's not getting lift there and she's scooting. So you want to pull, 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 pull if you have good suction and then glide and then come back. So pull, 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 glide away and then come back. And I think a lot of people get into a habit if they've been in class with those big silicone ones of pushing them on the body. And that, I mean, that is a version of dynamic cupping, but pushing it back and forth with suction in it is not the same as pulling it away, gliding and gliding back. It feels completely different. Yeah, pulling the skin satisfying. It feels so good, especially like when the client's face down and you're pulling those traps. And even like with the video doing the neck, when you have the two facial cups here, I'm not going to stick because I don't have any oil on me. If you had two stuck here, just like when we're doing craniosacral or lymphatic and we're taking the tissue where we want it to go, think about doing the same thing with suction. So they have, extreme, tightness, neck, whatever. I'm going to take the cups with the suction. I'm not going to move them, but my intention is going to be away, head to toe, away, two together towards the head, two together towards the feet. Just it's amazing. Feels amazing. All right. Well, I am always available. Social media, email, anything at all for questions. You're very welcome. Thank you all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All of you that took these few minutes to talk body work. I could do this all day, every day. I love it. And all of you are awesome. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. If you have any questions, if you didn't want to type or talk on the video, please message me anytime. I work full-time Monday through Friday. I am not a good phone talker person. I'm a really good texter. So my number's on here. I'll send all this to you when we're done.